Hi, my name is Jayani Pitta, and I'm a senior at Panther Creek High School here in Cary, North Carolina. And I'm going to be the moderator for this panel. So I'm just going to introduce all the speakers, and then I'm going to allow you guys to introduce yourselves as well. So we have, Miss Filipa Peleja, and then Miss Sharmistha Chatterjee, and then I'm so sorry for the pronunciation, but Miss, I'm not completely sure how to say your name. Would you like to say it? Oh, sorry, I can't hear you completely.
Who do you ask right now?
Oh yeah, could you say your name for me? I just don't want to miss.
Sorry, I'm Elizaveta or Elizabeth.
Okay, thank you. So would you guys like to introduce yourselves before we start?
I can go first if you don't mind. So I'm Elizaveta. I'm a senior data scientist at Bolt. It's a transplantation platform which is leading in Europe and Africa. I worked there as a senior data scientist for already 5 years. And I have a background actually in finance and mathematics. And from my passion for mathematics, I came to data science. And that's how I got into machine learning field. Right now, my focus at Bolt is on fraud domain. So my main task is building fraud predictor models. But before, I was also focusing on kind of user focused machine learning models, working on churn prediction models, user segmentations, and so on. But apart from working at Bolt, I'm very passionate about engaging more particular girls into this field. So I talk at different boot camps for teenagers and also different meetups. And that's basically it about myself.
Thank you. Anyone else want to connect?
Thank you so much also for the invitation. I'm very happy to be here with all of you today. So my name is Filipa Peleja. I'm originally from Portugal. My passion for machine learning kind of grew through my master's and PhD, and then the area itself bloomed, which was also amazing to see how this has been going on. And even today, now talking about generative AI. I've been working in different industries, from retail industry. More recently, I'm here at Lego. But similar as Elizaveta, I'm also very passionate about sharing the knowledge and also supporting anyone who would like to enter the field. And I collaborate in a bootcamp for women who want to enter the data science domain and transition let's say their area of expertise.
Yeah, I can go next. Thanks, Filipa. So this is Sharmistha here. I work as the chapter area lead and head of for advanced analytics chapter for Commonwealth, which is the largest bank in Australia, here in Bangalore. So I hold around 18 plus years of experience, and my interest in data science started way in 2008 when I started doing my master's thesis, and it was on mobile, and it was just getting the statistics of mobile users and doing machine learning models, which models at that time there was no Python library or MATLAB. Just the MATLAB was available, and coding right from scratch the machine learning libraries. So thereby my interest grew in machine learning and data science. And then I started, while I was also working as a data engineer, cloud engineer in startups from a Princeton startup called DataMine, now called Rich Mobile. I just learned how to productionize those models. So seeing both the sides of data models from statistics perspective to productionizing them, bringing them into scalable cloud systems, and thereby I continued my passion in data science. And I'm also a Google developer expert in machine learning and cloud. And I always share my knowledge with different communities for whether it is GG, Google developer groups, or others, Lean and others. And I do support women and want them to grow their passion in any STEM field, as we are the minorities. Yeah. So thank you. Thank you for having me in. Yeah. And also I'm for Gen AI, I'm also the co-author of the book, Platform and Model Design on Responsible AI. So it is available in Amazon. So after writing the book, I think this helped me to get a lot of knowledge while authoring the book on responsible AI and how we can build those practices not only in traditional models, deep learning, but also in Gen AI as well. Yeah.
You. So I think you guys might have already touched on this when you guys were introducing yourselves, but I kind of was wondering if you guys wanted to explain how you got involved in this field a little more, and like could you like describe like your experience in it as well? Anyone who wants to start off?
Sure, I can go first. So for me, it was kind of random, I would say. I was in a computer science engineering domain, and towards the end of my degree, which was 5 years degree, I had one course that was automated machine learning, and that kind of led its own course because I really was amazed by the capability of building solutions that learn and can help us on different tasks. So I decided that I wanted to do my master's thesis on it, and then later on I wanted to do more. This was a long time ago, so this was around 2010, 2009. So there weren't like a lot of places like we have today. So I just kind of went to the PhD, we could say a traditional path. And yeah, so that's how I kind of entered the field. And yeah, across the years it has been growing. I don't know, maybe Elizaveta, if you want to go next.
Yeah. So I already mentioned that, yeah, like my background is in mathematics. Also, my bachelor was in finance, but I liked mathematics a lot, and I had a really good teacher, like professor in mathematics, and she kind of noticed my passion about it, and she prepared me like to participate in some mathematical like competitions, as we had like at our country. And I participated in many of them, and I had like I won different prizes over there. And kind of when I did my master, it was called quantitative economics. And although like there were a lot of mathematics there, a lot of economics, but also a lot of programming. And I was kind of I love mathematics, but then I discovered, okay, mathematics plus programming, there is this like such thing as machine learning. And I started to learn more about it. I took some additional courses. So outside of my curricular, it was like machine learning, data mining, data processing, or like anything which would give me skills to later work as a data scientist. So I just took these courses at my university. And after graduation, I went to the different interviews and I got a job as a data scientist. And I'm enjoying this position since then.
Yeah. So I in class in 10+2, like we had this board exams for 10+2. I took mathematics and statistics, and I thereby fell in love with statistics, and I was like wanted to study more on being a statistician than an engineering, but I ended up doing an engineering degree. And then when I got my first opportunity to do my master's thesis, and it was definitely engineering, but the best part of it was also oriented around algorithms, and thereby I grew more depth into the data science, right? Coding the mathematical algorithms by itself, doing C++, rather than using the already defined libraries that came up later in Python. Yeah, and then I took my passion like to understand like whether it is only about just generating the algorithms, but making it usable for people to see the impact of data science. It's not just an algorithm, but how do we put it into an end-to-end system, and it's that people consume the predictions and see what's the impact if they try to get to know the predictions beforehand. So that's how my job continued on, and my passion grew on machine learning, productionizing systems, and taking it to the usable patterns and systems where people can see the benefit of data and science. Yeah.
Very interesting. Could you guys also explain how your teams got involved in generative AI, like what you guys do with it today? Anyone who wants to go?
Maybe I can start. So at both, we have like many fields where like in general AI is applied, but for most of use cases, it is still like we have like we use supervised models for tabular data, but now we to kind of trying to dig more, okay, where we can apply this generative AIs. And one of use cases is that at our app, it's like our Heading app, and we have a support chat, and we kind of just like trying to, okay, how we can kind of automate this chat experience for our users. So it will not be like engines answering the question, but maybe you can use like some generative AI models, which will kind of free up time of our agents, and they will focus on more important cases, and models will solve like basic cases which can be like very easy to do. So we are in like at both, we don't have much of use cases, but we're starting to investigate more and more, and I think it as models are developing. And actually generative AI, it's not only about like, you know, text generation, which is like ChatGPT, everybody knows about it, but it's also like image generation or data generation as well. And in particular for fraud use case, I think kind of here where we can use this like generation of synthetic data, because when building a fraud models, the main kind of issue is there that data is very imbalanced. So we have like very little kind of labels of fraud, and that's why kind of it's sometimes it may be hard to build some models, and it's where generative AI can actually help to generate this like more kind of fraudulent use cases to help to build better models. Yeah, maybe Filipa, you want to share your experience with that?
I'll just answer a bit in general. I would say that in any organization is helping us to get our doubts there quite fast, because you can just, if you have an error while developing a solution, you can just check it. Of course, there's always a caution guard to be there, because you cannot put things that are, you know, within your organization. But we already, I think in general, we are becoming more aware of that. So I think it helps us become more productive as we develop our solutions. And then similar to what Elizaveta was sharing as well, we are in a moment of exploring, I would say, all of us, what can be done, what can make sense, and also being responsible as we think about these things. And I guess further the session today we'll talk more about that. So I kind of want to highlight that, because it is a very exciting field, but it really depends on the applications and where you want to use it.
Would you like to answer the question as well, or I can move on?
My experience with generative AI was mostly when we tried to develop some smart systems. You can talk about home care systems where we try to detect different types of images. So trying to figure out what are the different anomalous patterns when we try to put it in a like a CCTV or a kind of a smart monitoring, and thereby also try to see anomalous patterns in restaurants, like whenever any person is ordering it, what could be the different anomalous between the person who presses a button, say you go to MACD, you just press a button that you order some stuff, and to the time of delivery, then you get it actually served in your plate in the table. So, and also having delivery partners, like when you are just ordering something, you are getting that stuff from delivery partners. So seeing different patterns and anomalous data, as we have Filipa told and Elizabeth also told, is very, very rare to find those, detect those patterns. That generative AI definitely help us to find those anomalous patterns, whether it is in computer vision or is in just normal supervised or unsupervised data.
So I think someone actually led into this, but do you guys think there are any like ethical implications or considerations with machine models and like data science in general?
Maybe I can just jump in first, if that's okay by everyone. So as we kind of learn this new space, we need to keep in mind that Gen AI is generative models. So we're going to feed into those models a lot of data. So the way they operate better is when they have like high volume. At the same time, we could think about that we don't have like a full control, at least at this point, of all the data we put in there and how the model makes sense out of it and produces its results. So when I think about safe, I would say it's a hard question. It really depends where we're applying those solutions and how much control and how much of a watch are we actually keeping on the end-to-end solution. With that said, there's a lot of movement within the community for us to bring more interpretability out of these models, also to bring more conditional configurations for us to be able to be more confident that this is safe. And safe is a broad word. We can think about bias models because the data on itself could be biased, so we didn't do it intentionally, for example. Or other things like it was already mentioned, generative models, it's not only text, but it's also, in the text also has copyrights like images and videos. So we need to watch out for overfitting and other things like that. So I'll just let the other panelists also share their opinion.
Yeah, I'd just like to add not only the bias part of it, but also the privacy part of it. When we develop models, that how resilient our models or robust our models to different types of attacks, whether it is white box attacks or black box attacks. So are we anonymizing the data? Are we adding some kind of a pre-model training, before model training the noise, or after the model converges some kind of noise like Bolton privacy, differential privacy, different type of homomorphic encryptions or secured encryptions. That helps, like whether it is in just a separate model or is it in a federated system, using a federated learning, that we are well aware of the security aspects of it, and we are taking care that when the model is being attacked by an attacker, the predictions between when the data set differs by one record, right? The difference in the predictions is not much that can help an attacker to really extract what is the actual data that has been used for training. So this kind of things also comes in the purview of responsible AI and within Gen AI, that when we are generating vast amounts of data from the original small subset of data, we are taking care of all these mechanisms. And also when we are putting them into a system that is consumed by end users, like putting in a distributed scalable clouds, right? Or are we aware of all the different security loopholes that exist at different endpoints, at different microservices, to app, to everywhere? So do we have the safe railguards put into place? Yeah.
Yeah, I also agree that the privacy topic is very important. I mean, like, what is like, what data is used for training? How private was it, private or not? Probably everybody remembers this case with leaking of Samsung data when employees from Samsung use ChatGPT and basically insert there some private information, and then it leaked into the world, and that's how a company started to think, okay, like, can employees actually use ChatGPT or not? And many companies has like a very strict policy on this. For example, with our company, like we can use ChatGPT like to help us to resolve our bugs or like to answer some Python question or something, but we are not allowed to insert like, you know, any private information there, because this field is only like emerging, and this data might be used for training, and then in some case private data would leak. But bias actually is like what concerns me about all like this models as well, because like if the data which is used for model training is biased, then the results of the model will be also biased. And you know, like not a funny example, but just an example from like when DALL-E model was just released, and like everybody played like inserting text and generating these like cool images. And at our data science team, my colleague kind of just generated an image with a prompt, something like data science riding on a horse, like in Estonia or something like that. And it was an image of a male person actually like riding a horse. And like I think nobody noticed except of like there are like only like 3 females in our data science team, and like, okay, but why it's a male there, why it's not a female there, you know? And to generate this like female image, I need to actually prompt like, okay, female data scientist riding a horse, and only in this case I would get like some like girl riding on this image. So kind of this bias is it's still a thing in generative models, and I think it should like taken seriously.
Thank you. That kind of also led into like my next question, but what do you guys think of like generative AI's impact on just like different industries, like not just the tech industry, but other industries all across?
I mean, probably, yeah, I can briefly share. I mean, also it's like a generation of text, which can be like automate some like content generation, like tasks, because yeah, we have like a lot of text on the internet for like ads, for like a product description and whatnot, and it can be like automated by the generative models. But also like I'm a musician, and what fascinates me right now is that you can kind of just generate the music from your text prompt, for example. I've tried this models, kind of there are a lot of improvement which should be done there, but I think it this kind of it leads to correct direction, and maybe after some time we can have actually like nice music generated by AI.
And to add on that, actually, what Elizaveta you were just talking about, like it's the kind of a system that generates music. There was even an artist that recently she released an album that was, I think, I Am AI, something like that, and all the lyrics were generated by AI. So it is on one hand exciting, but at the same time, I do feel, I mean, thinking about also all the different artists all over the world, it can be a big revolution that is a bit scary because it will be impactful. And as we kind of adapt to think about what is our role going to look like in the future. So from my 5 cents in this topic, I would say it's changing. These technologies are being incorporated as part of tasks, especially artists that before probably they weren't using as much technology, and they will have to, in a way, probably will want to slowly adapt and see what are the benefits. Now, how they will use it, I think we are all still learning how this will help them, but this is a challenging transitional phase. That's what I think.
Yeah, I think I totally echo what you say. And it's also the leisure industry as well as the industry with the fashion, design, even virtual reality, right? That landscape is entirely going to change with generative AI. And we have started seeing the changes. But again, it depends upon how do we apply, and the organizations or the companies who are coming up with the new use cases where generative AI can be applied. How skeptical and how careful are we in this application, because it can change the entire landscape if we are not thinking about putting all the responsible AI principles in place. It can create an adverse effect on the entire human civilization. So starting with this leisure, fashion, even law and the judiciary systems, like if you are using generative AI, in say prompt engineering, answering the question, summarizing. So how carefully we are designing the prompts. So are we adding all the safeguards that how we very specifically want the answers to be without the model getting biased and giving us some wrong information? Are we providing sufficient examples to the Gen AI with few shots examples that where it's this way we want the answers, so that there is no way that the model is misguiding us. So we need to put all those guardrails, and we need to be very careful, thinking that more than the good, it can have an immense dangerous effect if we are the designers, we are the data scientists, if we are not carefully designing the models.
So since it has such a growing impact like globally, how would you guys say that you stay like updated with all these like latest developments and trends like that are coming up like all the time these days? Anyone want to?
I think
I can start, but it's like it's so difficult to keep up with with everything which is going on, because I don't know, like if you're talking about some like research papers, they appear like every day something new kind of comes, and you cannot read like everything which is out there. Personally for me, yeah, I follow some like email subscriptions. So like for example, Andrew and G has like this like weekly newsletter sent, and it's usually it's not very long because there are like 4 main topics, like main thing for last week. And it actually kind of grasps you some kind of main ideas which are developed in AI. But also at my company, kind of we share with each other. If somebody finds something interesting, we try to share with others, like send a link or like just with some brief summary of what it is and how it can relate to our work. And also like for some time we had kind of this learning session within data science team at my company, where we just chose, okay, like for this couple of months, we are going to focus on reinforcement learning, for example. And let's say we have 10 people, and like each week, one person presents something about this, like from some topic from reinforcement learning and shares with others. So kind of during like this period, you prepare just one presentation, so not much of effort, but you listen to all other people like sharing some kind of important thing from there, and that's how you learn together. And I really enjoyed this like initiative because you're not, you know, stuck alone learning something, but you have like other people interested in the same things, and it kind of makes this process more enjoyable.
Yeah, I want to add one more thing is whenever we are working on any specific domain, we should feel free. I mean, and I also find a lot of interest in reading out white papers, some playbooks that are published by, say, BCG, McKinsey, even different product companies, Google, what they're coming up, Microsoft. So just getting abreast with the technologies and how they're applying it is not always the hardcore technically, the application and what are the use cases they're coming up with. And to add with reading research papers, being a regular habit of reading something which has come up on LLM, say hallucination or something else, that also keeps us abreast with the technology, the advancements, as well as the trends where researchers are putting a lot of focus on it. And the last, what I would say, is sharing the knowledge, even if we don't have a solid understanding of a particular topic, and we take it up and think that we would like to share with a larger audience. What it helps us is brings our knowledge also to a much higher level, because we face a lot of questions, right? And these questions make us think and ponder, like how maybe we don't know the right answer of it, maybe go back and see and come back. Like this also helps us to keep updated with what is happening and the new research.
I would have to agree with both of you. It's very similar, but I would say as well, just to add one more thing, sometimes it's overwhelming, and I guess we just have to accept that. And I don't think that anyone expects for us to know everything, because maybe it's not really even supposed to. But we do get a chance to learn from our colleagues, and like you're just sharing. I would just add that I also learn a lot from my students, because when they ask me questions and when they're working in their projects or their master's thesis, and I'm just kind of just guiding them, I'm also learning with them, because I want to be able to support them. So I go and I join that learning journey. So yeah, so that's another place. So you get to be learning in a lot of different places.
Thank you. And just for like our final question, what advice would you guys give to like younger people who are interested in pursuing a career in generative AI?
Okay, maybe I can start. That's very specific, generative AI. It kind of reminds me when the deep learning models started, and it was kind of like another branch as well. So I would say, just first of all, make sure that you're already comfortable with the field, in the sense of what is it to work with data, and you like it. I would say that's my first advice. Make sure that you are really passionate about it. The second bit is, as you notice, all of us come from different backgrounds, so there's no right or wrong background. But the generative AI, if you want really to get deep into it, there's a moment that you feel that probably you want to have your mathematical background kind of refreshed. So I would advise kind of a refresh in your mathematical background, so you would not feel overwhelmed well as you take your first steps into the Gen AI world. That would be my advice.
Yeah, definitely. I do also agree with this. Getting the basics clear and to understand. See, if you give a model input, some output will be there, but understanding what it is actually doing, it helps us to bring a stronger base. And tomorrow, GenAI would build upon something else because we started with traditional machine learning, deep learning, GenAI, something else will come. So, where is our base? If the base is strong, I think we can go anywhere.
Yeah, totally agree with both of you. And probably I would add maybe to choose one specific thing in generative AI, which is actually like you're passionate about. And you actually like you understand that you're interested in this, and it will motivate you more to learn more about this particular kind of models. I know like music generation, for example. If you're passionate about it, you have more like interest to learn about it and to work on it, and maybe start doing some kind of very simple project, and by doing like some applied things, you can learn more about theory and so on, and gain more skills and experience about it.
Thank you. Thank you for speaking at the panel. I had such a great time just learning so much from you guys and asking you guys these questions, and I really hope you guys had a good time sharing out as well. But I'm gonna pass it over to Sneha once she's ready.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for speaking at the Gen AI panel. And yeah, I think I learned a lot, and so did the attendees as well. So if you'd like to if you guys would like to stay for the rest of the panels or the rest of the conference, that'd be great. But otherwise, thank you so much for attending and speaking. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank
you.
So I think our next